Interested in working in theory anymore. I'm interested in practical application of it. Show that you have listened. Demonstrate listening. Respond to comments and concerns. That would be like you're paraphrasing. Repeat the information again and again. Follow through on your promises. Mine is, do what you said you would do. Tell the truth, regardless of if it frightens you. Tell the truth. And you cannot expect others in your system to be honest until you are. Avoid words like no, never, and not. That I will add to this. Always, a lot, these kind of absolute terms. Everybody wants this. Everybody thinks that. It's like, no, they don't. Also, I list, this comes out tomorrow in the workshop, so today will be in advance of that, what I call portals to hell. And they are why. Why. Should, shouldn't, want, and need. So think on that a little bit. And 10, use ADDS.
On the other side.
And it's refer to the back for how to do that. So raise your hand if you're interested in this, and she'll pass it around. She just shared that others in our movement are using these and grateful to have the guidance for it. Okay, and thank you for bringing it up, honey. Okay, let's go. And these little magic wands have transformed congregations. They've transformed my life. And one of my skills is keeping a little lighter heart about things and bringing a little humor and a little playfulness into situations. So it looks insignificant. I can just assure you it is not. So what is your magic wand? What would be something you could do in a very kind of serious situation to just let it be okay, to remind them you're not broken here, or that we're broken, so slightly broken that this has immediately restored us all to our own divinity. So now we're back to being Christ conscious, Christ intended conscious people. Then we have a new platform. We have a new beginning. So whatever would work for you. And there's a whole chapter in the training for healthy congregational systems on playfulness and paradox. So I invite you to check that out for yourself and see what the value of that is. And this belongs to you, Miss Chaplain. So this is your reward for listening last night and actually bringing that in today, and for being joy and how I experience you as joy. So there's your healing manifestation. Yes, you did. Stances. So now it's going to look like they changed something. It's so marked as far as the differences go. So the same kind of process. What's different is their functioning. So refer then to the bottom half of your handout. Those of you listening and watching with us, it's the video case study. What was different this time? What was different this time? Number 1 in the middle of the page. So that's what you're looking at. So catch their behaviors, the difference of them, see what pattern shifted, and what can I learn from watching this group? What can you learn from watching this group? Mm-hmm. It's the responsible one, honey. Okay, is that the one you... Okay. Yes.
And does not deal with the anxiety well.
We saw what happened.
Now let's look at the same congregation having the same problem. But this time, it handles the anxiety by being responsive to it.
Make a joyful noise to God. Let's worship God together now.
This is terrible. This is supposed to be a church, not a nightclub.
Make a joyful noise to God.
Finally, they've done something I like.
Make a joyful noise to God.
Coming to that service is going to mean just a lot less people coming to the regular service.
Wasn't that great? It's good to see all of you here today. We're experimenting to see whether a contemporary service will attract new members or even people who don't find much meaning in traditional forms of worship. We're not replacing our Sunday worship. We're simply adding a worship service put to a contemporary setting.
Right. I don't find it at all appealing, but I know the pastor's been pushing for it ever since he came here.
I think he's got the leaders of the church fooled. Believe me, he's got the charm to get what he wants.
It began as a congregation's vision to reach out to the community through a worship service that was contemporary and appealing. But what was designed to be a congregation's mission, for some became a focal point of major dissatisfaction. This contemporary service that you've begun could be a risky venture. I've heard that in some congregations, it's caused a great deal of tension.
It isn't my contemporary service. The idea came out of a congregational planning meeting, and I brought it to the worship committee for their approval. We carefully planned it, clearly communicated what we were about and what we were going to do.
So you knew of the possibilities of its causing tension?
Oh, yes, I did. The committee also knew. We've all heard about resistance coming on the heels of change. We've been very intentional in the way we've implemented it. First, the planning committee, then the worship committee, then the congregation support. It's all part of our vision strategy, reaching out.
Are you aware of the people that are being upset by this?
Nobody's come to me directly. I've heard some rumors.
In spite of the careful way that you've approached the contemporary worship, there's still some anxiety among some people. Care to comment about it?
I know there's a group of people unhappy about it, but I don't know how many or to what degree they're upset.
The pastor indicated that he had sought approval from the worship committee.
Yes, we did give him the go-ahead, but this is not the pastor's service. The majority of the people wanted it. We want to be a congregation with a clear purpose, and reaching out to the community is one of our purposes.
You had been hoping for total support, even though you knew there might be some resistance.
Exactly. That's when we went to Plan B.
What's your plan to deal with the opposition?
We agreed that if people were upset, the committee would reconvene and listen to them. Perhaps we could learn something, and yet do it without caving into dissent.
What happened?
Well, I don't like what's going on. I've been talking to the Millers and the Thompsons, people like that. They're all talking about leaving if this keeps up.
As a committee, we supported the idea of a contemporary service. There's been some negative reaction to it. A time we hoped wouldn't come, but thought that it might. And that's why we're here meeting to discuss it.
Yes, but this negative reaction is big, bigger than I thought. We need to nip this worship thing in the bud. If we don't, people will start to leave. That's why this demands action and demands it now.
I think we need to stay the course. I don't want to back off just because some people are upset. We need to go ahead with our plan, Jean. After all, you were in on that decision.
Well, I went along with it, yes. But tell me, what's the value in losing good members just to get new members? Well, can't we get new members some other way? Well, the pastor could make more calls. We could have more social events. We could improve the youth program.
We're a committee, not a debate team. Let's focus on the real concern, how to respond to the criticisms that we're hearing from certain people of the congregation.
Just stop those worship services. That'll stop the criticism. Pastor Johnson needs to back down.
If we do that, aren't we contributing to the undermining of our focus for the future? I believe there has to be a better way.
The thing that worries me is that if we don't start doing something fairly soon, we're going to start losing members. And I'm talking about people who joined when Pastor Stetson was here. I think we should get Pastor Stetson to go and talk to Pastor Johnson about having these services less often.
I don't think that's a good idea. Why should we pass our responsibility off to Pastor Stetson? We need to deal with this ourselves.
Well, Pastor Stetson never messed anything up. He always had a more practical approach than Johnson has. I still think we need to get Stetson involved.
I think the best way is the most direct and open way.
What could be more open and direct than going straight to Pastor Johnson with our concerns? You know, it's possible that he doesn't even know that people are upset.
You've got to be pretty dumb not to pick up on the criticism that's beginning to emerge. I mean, if Pastor Johnson is that dumb, all the more reason for Stetson to get involved.
I think that we need to ask Pastor Johnson to come to the meeting, and the Millers, and the Thompsons, and anybody else who's interested.
Well, you can count me out. Talk, talk, talk. I already told you what those people said.
I've heard both of your concerns, and I still favor a conversation with Pastor Johnson and anyone else who has a concern.
When we started this, we knew that there would be a few risks involved. And if we become as anxious as the others, then we won't be effective leaders. We need to remember our goal and not get so caught up in our own worries.
I'll arrange a meeting with Pastor Johnson, and I'll also talk to the president about a meeting with the Thompsons and the Millers and whoever else might be interested.
Your meeting ended with your committee deciding to talk directly to the pastor. How did that meeting go with him?
Well, I think it was successful. He knew that something was up, but he hadn't heard the criticism directly. He appreciated hearing our concerns and said that he welcomed the opportunity to speak directly with us.
And what about the people who were upset?
We're working on that.
There's a bit of turmoil in the congregation, and I understand that you're in touch with a lot of what's happening. You're obviously worried about people's negative reaction to the new worship service.
Well, as past president of the church, I'm more concerned about losing members than some of the others on the worship committee. But when I tried to sound the alarm, it was like they couldn't hear a thing I had to say.
They're not taking you seriously?
Well, everyone takes me seriously. At least they'd better. I'm saying that, Well, they didn't react in the way I thought they might.
So you were hoping for more support for your position?
Well, sometimes you've got to fight fire with fire.
Using that analogy, doesn't that just add to the blaze?
Well, it's certainly a lot better than trying all this negotiating stuff.
At the meeting, you wanted to involve Pastor Stetson in the meeting. Did you ever meet with him?
Yes, I did.
And how did that go?
Well, not exactly as I had expected it to. Pastor Stetson, you know how highly we valued your ministry all these years. We need you to help us to get us out of this contemporary worship mess.
I hear some people are upset by it.
Oh, upset's not a strong enough word. It's more like disgust. Why, Sam Schultz even called it the contemptible service. Well, that's how upset some people have gotten.
Well, what do you think I should do about it?
We want you to go to Pastor Johnson and talk some sense into him. Well, if he keeps this up, he'll split the congregation.
I know that you mean well, Jeannie, and it's flattering that you still think so highly of me. It would only complicate matters if I were to get involved at this point, so I'm going to have to say no. I truly feel that the best thing that you could do is go directly to Pastor Johnson and share your concerns with him. I'd encourage you to ask the others that are feeling unhappy to do the same thing.
He turned me down.
I heard him affirm you and suggest another approach.
You did? I heard him flat out reject me.
You're a difficult man to find.
I didn't know anyone was looking for me.
Well, I'd like to get your reaction to this controversy surrounding the contemporary worship service.
Frankly, I'm not surprised by what's happened.
You're not?
We've had problems before with changes that have taken place. Besides, we have people with strong opinions. What you can't forget, though, is that the vast majority of our people want this change.
So you stand aside hoping it'll all go away?
Not really. Please, don't mistake my calmness for disinterest. I don't like unpleasantness any more than other people do. It's just that I don't think a knee-jerk reaction is going to be helpful in the long run.
And what will?
Well, this confrontation isn't all bad. All churches have problems. It's what you do with those problems that counts. In this case, people are debating, discussing, dialoguing, all of which is good. Oh, there's some disagreement. There's some hurt feelings. But that too can be a sign of life.
And so you think this can be productive?
Oh, you bet. There's a lot of energy being expended out there, energy that's focused on the good of this church. Of course, there's some disagreement on exactly what that means, but out of that will come new ideas, new understandings, new changes. We've met challenges before. I know we have the ability to move on.
I was so mad. If our committee was going to back down from its support of that worship service, I was really going to give it to them. But then Pastor Johnson came to the meeting and listened to our concerns, and we realized that we needed to support what was happening.
Once he started talking, everyone stopped listening to me. Well, he's a smooth customer, and he really did a number on them. I haven't given up yet. I've still got a few aces up my sleeve.
I still don't like her. The way she always has to have everything revolving around her. If she had her way, we'd be at each other's throats. At least now we don't have to cave in every time she snarls at us.
Yes, I have. I've talked with the Thompsons and the Millers and a few others. I'm not sure who will be there. Miller said that nobody would listen to him.
I told the members of my group, please don't start a letter-writing campaign in support of the family service. We're handling the situation.
No, I agree with you. I don't like losing members either, but I don't like anger, especially in church. I don't like anger. I mean, once you've made your point, then it's time to move on. What's the use of getting more and more angry? I know you're my friends and all that, but I just can't do that.
What was headed for a confrontation seems to have simmered down.
Actually, it has. The contemporary worship service is going quite well in spite of some opposition. People have been open with me about their feelings. Oddly, the whole thing has helped us concentrate more clearly on our mission.
Well, what about some people's opinion that you're not taking their criticism seriously?
I've listened to the criticism, and I hope that I have responded to what's going on. I haven't always changed to meet their demands, or have I given in to some of the pressures that have arisen. But I have tried to listen to them, I've tried to be fair, and I think I can say the same thing of the worship committee.
Well, I say you've both succeeded. One final question. You seem very hopeful. Is this a pretense, or do you really feel that way?
I really do feel hopeful. You know, I understand that people are bothered by change and will react to whatever they see going on. It's part of the process for us to deal with them directly and to address their concerns. But they also have to be challenged by our mission and our vision.
This congregation was able to face conflict and turn it into an opportunity to refocus on its mission. How did they do that? If they did it, can others do it? What might we learn from this situation that will help us in our interactions? These questions come to my mind, and perhaps to yours.
Dialogue, discussion, actually talking to one another. Yes. They were not threatened and defensive about what was happening, the resistance and the challenging, the questions, the reactions. Yes, they used we. Anything specific about that you remember? How they referenced it? We decided this as a group. You decided this as a congregation. So we decided to do this. Then it was taken to a vote for the committee. So this is a collaboration of we. We need to... Yes. Identified and disclosed the goals up front. She said that one lady said, we need to handle this ourselves. So they didn't try this time to place their responsibility and roles off on somebody. Yes, even though he was tempted. I'm flattered that you still think that highly of me, and I won't do that. It will only complicate matters. So that's where the rubber really meets the road, folks, even in our identity and all that, and this need for love and approval and appreciation from folks. Will we fold there to keep that old role going when we know good and well it's going to complicate matters to do that?
And then Jeannie was still upset.
Yes, Jeannie was still Jeannie. Jeannie was still doing what Jeannie did. Now, what was different about that? Yes, she didn't. We wasn't succumbing to that. She did what she did, and instead of waiting for Jeannie to adapt or waiting for Jeannie to change, we changed here in response to her. And she's going to go do whatever she does. And she still has aces up her sleeve, and she's going to do whatever she does. We don't have to bother ourselves with what Jeannie's thinking or going to do. We stay focused on who have I come here to be. Exactly. Now, that's a very powerful piece here from my perspective as somebody I feel like I'm a minister to ministries, and I'm a minister to ministers. And that was my decision 12 years ago when I looked at what I'm going to do in the field. That our field is ill prepared for field ministry, and that we could use some support generally about that. And what real listening is. So the reason she was acting the way she is, the reason she was coming from where she's coming was why? I felt rejected. She was in pain. So it was nothing to do with the issue, nothing to do with the decision. It's her own unresolved worry, doubt, fear, panic, and terror about being rejected. And folks, that's running in all of us. To the degree that we're still seeking love, approval, and appreciation outside of ourselves, we stand in the horror of not getting it and of being rejected, left, betrayed, abandoned, whatever it is. So this woman clearly shows us that part of ourself that is that vulnerable to that until that is healed up in us. So then as you shifted, when you could see that she felt rejected, was hearing only rejection from this, could you meet her a little differently? Compassionately, yes. That's just us, one thought away. That's us, one thought away. So then I'm more compassionate to Jeannie. And then how would I respond to Jeannie differently as compassion?
We probably hug her to death.
Well, that works for some. Doesn't work for others. You know, like, don't hug me. You can't hear me, because even hugging me is too big of a risk. Because I can't get close to you, because that's too risky to get close to folks. So that's very poignant here, I think, to actually hear where she's coming from on that. That of what you heard, I heard him affirm you. You did. All we heard is rejection. He rejected me, which is how we often experience anything where we don't get what we are seeking. When we don't get our way, rejection is the output, so to speak, or the outcome of that.
Also, instead of talking about if you're on the phone, how mad she makes you to somebody else, you might be looking at what am I doing in this situation? How can I reframe and see her in a different way?
Yes. So instead of talking about Jeannie, I can look in here to see what can I adjust, what can I reframe, what approach could I alter to try to reach her, to actually hear where she's coming from, and to still define where I stand without making her my enemy. or without making her wrong?
When I watched the first movie, it made me very nervous. And in watching the second one, I'm still somewhat confused. I'm feeling hopeful that taking action and dealing with consequences of the action, you try to help something. If you see something and you do something, but you don't know all the consequences that could result, that it just takes confidence to be willing to go through the process.
Yes. So thank you for your honesty about that, which is what I meant at the beginning of the day. If you're not feeling some resistance or some stirring around this, it's like you're not listening. It's like we're not deeply engaged in this yet. There's going to be some churning in this. And can you speak more? Would you take the microphone? And this is for our listeners. And listeners, thank you for asking us to feel these questions and these comments a little differently. So we're intending to do that for you. So thank you for your honesty. And speak about then more about the confusion. Say more about the confusion you feel like you're experiencing.
This is a new situation for me. I accepted a request or an idea from Bill about to get more involved or something, and somehow I agreed. Because I have some background in marketing, so there was an idea to reach out more to the community, and there's been some question about, what is the principles of unity. So I've talked several people into doing things because I have that skill. So I've talked my partner into giving a talk on the history leading up to Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, starting their prayer circle, and that I've talked her into talking about the context of that. I'm going to be out of town that week, and I made this. So there were several of us that formed a committee, and I've been sending emails back and forth with the board, several of the board members, and with my committee.
Speak to her question. What is your confusion?
My confusion is that, oh my God, I've started something and I have no idea of the other consequences that might result, and the miscommunication, the potential problems that might arise that I wasn't aware of.
Yes, there's no confusion in that, John.
From this side there is.
Well, yes. Well, that's because you're believing that you're confused.
Okay.
And as long as you believe that you're confused, that's going to be your experience of that.
Okay.
But you're standing in the absolute reality of we do not know the unknown.
Yes.
We cannot know what the outcome will be. We cannot know what the circumstances will be or the consequences. Mm-hmm. Now, the mind doesn't like that at all, because it's about predict and control, predict and control, predict and control. And the only reality in the whole of the world is, I don't know. I don't know. So as leaders, it's about then keeping our presence and functioning and our capacity to stand in the reality of that as I don't know. So what will the outcomes be? I don't know. What do we hope they'll be? Here's the list. What do we intend them to be? Here's the list. What are we committed for them to be? Here's the list. What will we give money toward? Here's the list. What will happen? I don't know. Reality. So you're clear about that?
Yes.
Yes. There's no confusion in that.
Okay.
So you can maybe stop telling you that.
Good. I'll work on it.
And I'm glad. Yeah, well, don't work too hard at it. That's the problem.
Yes.
This is what created it. So you can't solve the feeling of it in the same level that it was created. That's an Einstein quote. We can't solve problems at the same level the problem was created. So instead of just noticing, I feel apprehension here or anxiety here, it's like, I'm really onto something.
Yes.
Yes. And even in this anxiety, what is my mission? What am I dedicated to doing? How can we execute what we said? And then the anxiety comes and goes like a passing cloud. So I don't have to get too entangled in it. It'll also pass. This too shall pass. Yeah, thank you for voicing it for us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's go with the mic, and then it'll come to you.
I kind of, when you said that, the thing about the rejection, and the thought came to me, does that ever get healed? Do we ever stop feeling that way? And I thought, well, that's just my thing. Nobody else in here is thinking that.
Oh, no, it's all of humanity's thing, honey.
Yeah, and so the question does come to me, does that ever get healed so that I stop feeling that?
Well, let me know. I can tell you it's healed in me.
Okay.
And it all is healed in layers. So do I still seek from other people? Sure.
Sure.
Do I still want approval? Yes.
Sure.
Am I like manipulating and controlling to get
No.
it? Yes.
Oh, yes? Okay.
And is it running my show?
No.
No.
Okay.
Not as far as I know. So it still runs. I just have a little capacity now, a little that goes a long way, to know the mind and to keep a little space between me and the thinking so that I can see me innocently trying to get love.
Okay.
I see me innocently trying to get approval and trying to get appreciation. So I don't make it wrong much anymore. And to the degree that it doesn't run the show, then I can't have a reaction.
Okay.
You know, it comes across the blog tomorrow, Martha Creek's the worst excuse for a facilitator I've ever witnessed. It's like, that's no new thought to me.
That's funny.
So what would I react to? They think I'm the worst, so do I. We have everything in common. So I couldn't react to anything. And that's not out of this denying the part of me that's hurt over that. Like, I cannot be hurt over that because it's just a thought. So then I'm interested in hearing, what do they specifically mean? I'm open to feedback. Like, what would improve her as a facilitator? Because she wants to improve. You want her to improve. We have everything in common again. So what would you suggest to me for how I can be a better facilitator? And I'm actually open to that. It's not like masochism and self-abuse. It's more like, I may try it. It doesn't mean I will. They could say, dye your hair, wear makeup.
Right.
Don't know about that. But I may do something that they suggest. So I'm open to it, honey.
I guess the question that comes up to me right here is, so when you can't have that conversation, it's just thrown at you, and there isn't a chance to have that conversation with the person, ever. Do you still have the same relationship to that in your mind?
Sometimes.
Okay.
And I know it's a one-stop shop now. So all the love and approval and appreciation I'm seeking out there can only be found right here.
Okay.
So that is another pop quiz for me.
Okay.
Like, will I keep doing that over and over and over again, or will I go to the place that I know it's always there?
Okay.
Then my awareness becomes, oh, there it is, closer than my hands and feet, inside of me as me. Yeah. So for me, it's just practice. It's like just another chance to practice, and that really does make it then an opportunity, not a problem.
I want to go back to what John was saying. We were adversaries, and what he wants, what I think he wants, I don't support. But I don't really know what he wants. So he said there's something wrong, and I said, fix it. And he is. And he's the reason I'm here today. We were working together, and I'm starting to listen to him more than I ever have before, because maybe I'm wrong. You know, it's...
Oh, pause there. Let us all get a breath. What if maybe we're wrong? Oh! No, surely not that. What if we're wrong?
Hopefully there's some place in the middle.
Yes.
But if not, that's the way it is.
Yes.
But John's doing a great job, and he hadn't ever been involved before. He was standing on the sidelines taking shots, and now he's in the middle of it getting shot at.
Yeah. Well, and it looks like he's still standing. So, yeah, that's a great example. Go back to some leaders in time where you actually had them. Lincoln comes to mind. The people he put on his cabinet were not people that supported him, people that challenged him, people that would cause him to think differently, to look at things from a broader and a different perspective like that. So whoever you're, and I'm not promoting him, I'm using him in the context of what you may call effective leading. So that's a part then for us to look at too, how we want to get everybody involved with us that agrees with us. Like, what do you think that will get you as far as your mission and vision goes? So it's like, thank you for stepping into some challenge there. This is another perfect example of what the mind will make up that will say, he is my adversary. Now, how do you treat them the second you believe that they're your adversary? How do you treat them? Specifically. Cautiously. What else?
Work our way around them. No?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get away, tippy-toe around them. Like, there they come, it's like, I am busy. Here we go. Instead of like moving toward them. No trust. So paranoia, suspicion, fear. Say it again. Discount them. Diminish them. He is wrong, crazy. Then we start, as Pete Steinke pointed out, demonizing, pathologizing, discounting, like closed here. What happens in you? Maybe close your eyes and experience this. Where does it hit you in your body when you think and believe somebody's an adversary? Put your hand on your body. Where does it hit you when you have a thought they're an adversary? Could be gut, head, shoulders, back, throat. Yes. Now get a sense of that in your body. Now you wonder why we're exhausted? This is just the effect of one little thought. One little thought. And if you believe it, this is your results. Now, who would you be with them being exactly who they are, doing exactly what they do, if you simply didn't believe that they're adversary? Who would you be? Freer. Open. Curious. Happier. Yes. Engaging them. Let me learn from them. So I go back to the seat of the student instead of the master. What can I learn from this situation? Who would you be if you didn't have a concept of adversary? What does that feel like in your body? Just if you didn't have a concept of adversary, how would it feel in your body? Expansive, open, more relaxed, calmer, centered. Now, which do you prefer? Now, which do you think would be a possible aid to you accomplishing who you've come here to be and what your mission's about? What would make you a more effective leader? Believe the concept and get the effect, or question the concept and free you from it? Effective leading.
I love having somebody on the board that doesn't agree with me because they keep my foot nailed in. Also, I find out where I'm making mistakes, and that's really neat. I don't want everybody.
Yes. So he appreciates somebody on the board that's not always agreeing with him. Like, sure, okay. Just don't call it leading. Call it building your friends. Like, this is where I think the word cult comes from. People who always agree.
Having said that, I think it's important, though, the one lady, I can't remember her name, but the person who, I've always said you can't be rational with an irrational person.
Yes.
And I believe it is a huge disservice to the whole ministry if you do have people in leadership positions that are so hurt and broken that they cannot rise to the occasion, so to speak.
That's right.
And so that becomes a real calling for ministries, is to make sure, how do we make sure that our leaders, and especially our board, because if you have one or two individuals like that on your board, I don't know a minister anywhere that wants to be there.
Yes, of course.
Or any other board member.
Yes. So then this is where we often do it. Like the squawking wheel gets put on the board. It's like it doesn't matter that they don't agree. This is about their functioning. How do they function? So it's not about getting them to agree with you, but how do they function in disagreement? And we're moving into that with this piece on differentiation.
I just wanted to add, and sometimes that individual is the minister.
Yes. Sometimes it's the minister. Yes, of course, honey. Because this whole notion that ministers are something more than humans, spiritual beings having human experience, ministers human too. What do you think makes them ministers? What do you think makes us ministers?
Healing your own stuff.
Well, that's hopeful. We're here to heal our own stuff too. We put our britches on just like you do, one leg at a time. We went to college to be a minister. You went to college to be an engineer, a teacher, a social worker, whatever you did. We got training to be in a professional field. We have a calling to do this that is not understandable. Just like you had a calling to be a nurse or to be a mother. So you understand calling from that way. So we've stepped into that as a profession, and we don't have any answers for you. So when you hire a minister that thinks they've got answers for you, you've just set yourself up. So a minister can bring questions for you, a spiritual exploration, somebody here joining you, equal to you, as an understanding that we're all here to evolve, and that we've been brought together by a divine appointment to do that. And that I don't have something that you don't have. I don't have wisdom that you don't have.
The thing that came to my mind when you said that if that person is the minister, it's my way or the highway, because I'm the minister.
Yes.
And I've seen ministers like
Yes.
that.
Well, what outcome do you think that gets? Yes, because the communities will stand. The communities will stay, and then there's a revolving door of ministers.
That's right.
And it's not wrong. It's just if that's really not what interests you, then we're employed as ministers and as ministries to do things a little differently, where we make a longer term relationship with somebody, where we make it actually get the mission actually lived out.
What I read recently, I think Eric Butterworth or one of them said something about it's not the minister's job to make things easy for the congregation. You know,
Amen.
it's kind of like, so.
Well, I'm right on track. Yeah. And I love that about Eric Butterworth. So yes, and have you heard that before, that ministers are here to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comforted. So you'll all take turns. One day it'll be your turn, and one day it'll be that. You have a worksheet on your table that's called differentiation. Can you find that? And this is a quote from Thomas Merton. Finding our heart and recovering an awareness of our inmost identity implies the recognition that our external, everyday self is to a great extent a mask and a fabrication. It is not our true self. In the prayer of the heart, we seek first of all the deepest ground of our identity as God. That is God. The deepest ground of our identity is God. Our desire and our prayer should be summed up in St. Augustine's words. May I know you. God, may I know you. God, may I know you. May I know myself as you. So there are some spiritual practices. So as you read through those, just do another little self-assessment on how often you pray. How often do you read Scripture? And your Scripture may not be the Bible. It may be something else that you call Scripture. I don't know. How often do you read something that you feel like is guidance for you, that is showing you the way to live? How often do you read devotional readings? Are those daily practices for you? If not, how would it change your life to make them a daily practice? Particularly if we're leading congregations to do that. How often do you do self-examination? What it's called here, repentance. I call it look and see and tell me the truth. How willing am I, and how often will I look and see that what I claim to be is not who I am being? How often will you take solitude and meditation for yourself to pull away from the crowd, to pull away from the cell phone, the newspaper, the TV, the whatever it is that is distracting you from going inner? Remember when you first memorized your first Bible scripture? What was it, the Lord's Prayer? Yeah, my brother's was, Jesus wept. He thought that was really funny. I know a Bible verse. Jesus wept. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Period. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of congregants, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. So find something meaningful for you that is your anchor back to reality. And then how often will you take abstinence? Actually deny yourself something that you know is a distraction to you taking an inner look. You know, the Catholics call it Lent, where I skip sugar or chips or something that I know is my drug. So if you know it's a drug to you, will you just test it every now and then to see who would I be without this drug? A spiritual retreat like this. A spiritual retreat, it may be silence for you. It may include fasting. Like that. And then on the back of this page are the 3 key concepts of self-differentiation. Now after lunch we have a full chart of this. But this is like the 3 in a summary statement what self-differentiation is. Successful leadership means not only moving a system toward the goals, but also maximizing its functioning. Leadership. The basic concept of leadership through self-differentiation is this. If a leader will take primary responsibility for his or her own position as the head and work to define his or her own goals and work to define your own self while staying in touch with the rest of the system, there is a more than reasonable chance that the body will follow. This is really good news. This emphasis on a leader's self-differentiation is not to be confused with independence or some notion of selfish individuality. It is the opposite of that. On the contrary, we're talking about the ability of a leader to be a self while still remaining a part of the system. And then it's defined there, the 3 ways. So I'll leave you just to read over that and then open the field to see.
In a clear and positive way, and not in reaction to others.
Circle that.
Often, we wait for others to define themselves, then define ourselves in reaction to them. In groups, waiting to define and being unable to define self openly create a sense of being stuck and feeling lost. Healthy self-definition occurs when you openly address what you think, what you believe, and what you hope for, and take an action stand on that basis.
Clear? Questions? Who else will read? Number 2.
Two, maintain emotional contact. For a leader to have a lasting impact, he or she must stay connected to the others in the family. Expression of self-definition can raise the anxieties of others.
So cross out can and put will.
Will.
And family in this context means system. It could be an organization, a congregation, whatever the system is.
When anxious, angry, or hurt, people can try to move away from the source of their anxiety by moving away from each other. Distance takes both physical and emotional forms. To maintain or restore relationships or make good decisions, emotional contact with others whom we perceive as blocking, disagreeing with, or rejecting us is essential. As a rule of thumb, leaders should note anxiety and move toward it, maintaining emotional contact with the participants and helping them maintain it with each other.
Sound easy? So we have an invitation here, folks. This is our invitation. Number 3, foster a non-anxious presence. So you can change non-anxious to less anxious. This is the opposite of uptightness, of being upset and tense. Good self-definition by members in a group means different definitions and perspectives will emerge. Anxiety makes us feel like we have to respond, we have to get out. It's the fight, flight, or freeze we talked about last night. A less anxious presence is not detachment from emotions. It is not detachment from issues. It is instead engagement of them without retreat or attack. When a leader maintains a less anxious presence, the anxiety felt throughout the congregation will be eased. So if you want that's the short answer, you want them to be less anxious, what do? Yes, we practice what we preach. We get to be what it is we want them to be. Well, whoever's going to take the offering, come up here now. As we prepare that, let's finish this segment up with this focus on strength. Resistance to change is inevitable in both the family and the church. In the midst of reactivity, we need to stay grounded where? In Christ, in your Christ-centeredness. Such reactivity may be a sign that we're doing a better job than we think we are. Reactivity will be a measure that we're really onto something good here. The key to overcoming resistance is to simply manage yourself. And we'll get into some of the leaders that we've had that did that. Would you prepare your offering for this workshop? How are the checks payable? The Northwest region going to be down in the Southwest Conference again next year in February. And then our Great Lakes Conference is coming up at the end of this month in October. And Healthy Congregations has also been slotted as a workshop for the 2012 National Convention. So I'll be presenting there too. And all of you who are interested in that I see that as a chance for you to be introduced as people that are ready to serve our nation in healthy congregations facilitation. So if you take the next step and get trained as a healthy congregations facilitator and are at the June Unity National Conference next year, I would plan to introduce you and have you to bring your own materials, your business cards like that, so you can make yourself available to our conference body for you to serve them in the way of how you want to bring forth workshops and things like that. So that we get to know a little bit more about who's here and maybe to serve to connect us in a new way.
So the name and Trinda Love, I'm with Edgewood Unity and past board president, and just completed the prayer chaplain training program, and I'm excited to be coming into prayer chaplaincy.
Thank you. Trinda shared with me yesterday too, she served as part of a search committee for the ministers. So there's a lot of wisdom in the room for what's been gone through in the way of searching for ministers and matching up in relationships too. Keep going.
My name is Andrea Roberts, and I'm a member at Edgewood and Unity. And what was the third thing?
How do you serve? You're a chaplain and...
I'm a prayer chaplain. I have been the prayer chaplain coordinator, and I run the bookstore, and anything else I can help with.
Yes, and you have a magic wand.
I do. And you all are blessed officially.
Hi, my name is Giselle Fernandez, and I'm here with Unity in Edgewood, and I am on staff as admin. I am prayer chaplain coordinator, volunteer coordinator. I'm an LUT candidate right now, and I'm an ordained interfaith minister. I have my team telling me what I'm doing, because I forget. So, and then anything else that needs to get done around here.
I'm Heidi Maloney, and I'm the financial administrator here at Unity of Edgewood.
I'm Darlene Strickland, and I'm the minister here at Unity of Edgewood.
1 year officially in August, was it? Yep. Bravo. Not only is she here serving, she actually has people in her congregation attending today. That's a miracle. You think I'm kidding? I can't make up stuff this good. How many's here from Edgewood? Raise your hand. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Bravo. Wonderful. Thank you for hosting us too.
I'm Janet Rhodes. I'm a licensed Unity teacher at Unity of Olympia. I am on our prayer team. I do pastoral care. I teach classes. I'm on our adult education team. I'm also the licensed teacher representative for the Northwest region. This is my 6th year, so I go off my term in April, which it'll be time. 6 years is a long time.
I'm Karen Breen James. I'm a licensed teacher, and I'm the admin for the region, and I work with the board.
I'm Deanne Singh from Unity in Centralia, and I'm a member of the board at large.
And do lots of other things as well. My name's Kate Packard. I am from Unity of Centralia. We are a small family church, and there are 6 of us here today. And this is really our church's first foray into the broader Unity community. So I want to congratulate ourselves on that.
Yes.
And yes. And I currently lead the music and help elsewhere where I can. We moved up to Longview after I lived in Coos Bay for 30 years and was a longtime member of the Unity by the Bay congregation. I'm sorry to see nobody here from that congregation. And served in every conceivable role over a period of 30 years. So.
John Anderson, Unity Centralia, Spiritual Outreach Committee.
Chris Nelson, Unity of Whitby. Let's see, I'm secretary and I do the accounting, but I won't do treasurer because I'm bookkeeping background, so you keep those two things separate. But I was part of Unity of Linwood for over 25 years, so if there's something other than music, I've done it. So.
I'm Patty Becker, and I'm associated with Unity of Tacoma as a licensed teacher.
Bill Lane, Centralia Unity, and I'm board president.
Sherry Lauder, I'm with the Centralia Unity Church, and I do the newsletter, and this has been a wonderful experience, kind of seeing what boards do, see if I wanted to run for the board at some point.
Yes, if you're interested in the fast track to spiritual evolution, join a board. I mean that. It's like you can, if you're already in a relationship, it's really all that's left. So if you're in a relationship, you're already on a fast track. So get on a church board so you can see what's left of you.
I'm Priscilla Davis. I'm here at Unity of Edgewood, board member at large and chaplain.
Diane Neiman, Unity of Edgewood, and I'm the board president, and I drive the school bus. No.
I'm Sandy Olson from Unity of Edgewood. I'm vice president of the board, and I served in a few different places in Unity of Tacoma before coming here up on the hill.
I'm Julie Webb from Unity of Edgewood. I'm the board secretary. I also participate in the prayer chaplain program and the choir and some other organizations within the church.
I'm Cindy McDonald, and I'm here with Unity of Edgewood, and I'm a board member at large.
My name is Jennifer Landry. I'm associated with the Unity of Edgewood. I'm our board treasurer, our YOU sponsor, and I'm also affiliated with the Northwest Region NGU, serving on the regional team.
Would you give this to our technician and maybe flip the camera around so we can see her?
Hi, I'm Kathy Swanson. I'm from Unity in Edgewood. I'm the videographer, and if you look at, if you search for Reverend Darlene Strickland on YouTube, you will find her service there every Sunday. And I'm also wedding hostess here, and I'm on Celebrators Committee, and I'm a member at large.
Thank you. And an angel for us to get this out in the world.
I'm Loudon Borgens, Unity of Yakima, Vice President of the Board, and relatively new to the Unity community. And 2 years ago, I didn't know what it was, and today I are one.
We snuck up on you.
Lucinda Cervantes is past board member and past children's program coordinator, and now I just play the drums on Sunday, and I live with Loudon.
My name is Deborah Mitzel, and I'm from Yakima, Unity of Yakima, past board president, member.
And I'm Cheryl Rorette, and I'm the minister at Unity in Yakima, and I'm excited that we have a good representation here.
Yes, thank you. Cheryl shared with me too, she's a part of our field licensing program, which I'm particularly fond of, having one.
I'm also on the Northwest Regional Board.
So she's also on the Northwest Regional Board. So
And what do you do on the Northwest Regional Board?
I get to be the vice president and the secretary. We would like more board members.
Yes. So I am Barbara Wilson. I'm a ordained Unity minister,
I am currently regional representative for the Northwest region, which means I serve on the national standards team. And on the regional, and I also participate on the regional board, which also means that I serve on the human resources team and the Earth Care team and the fall leadership seminar team and the bylaws team. And did we say we needed more board members? Yeah. Please.
I'm Pamela Cameron. I'm with Unity of Kingston, which is officially North Peninsula Unity Center. But we're trying to go with the Unity model now and adapting the name of the city
Yes.
with Unity.
Wow.
So that's our change. And did I say I was the president?
Yes.
I am.
President of the board there. Kensington?
Kingston, Washington.
Kingston, Washington. Yes, across the water. Okay.
Yes, I'm Mooneen Marks, also from Unity of Kingston. I'm the treasurer on the board.
Welcome. Thanks for making the trip.
I'm Martha Douglas, and I'm from Unity of Bellevue, and I am the board treasurer.
I am Doug Stearns. I am from Unity of Bellevue also. I'm the board secretary.
I'm Nancy Worth, and I'm from Unity of Bellevue, and I'm the senior minister.
How long?
1 year.
1 year too. Wow, good.
At the end of this month.
Yes, good. Congratulations.
I'm Judy Willingham, licensed Unity teacher at Unity of Bellevue.
I'm Clifford Singh from Centralia Unity, and very proud of it.
Glad you're here. Would you introduce you, David?
All right. Oh, this is a good spot right here. Well, I'm David Fernandez. I'm with Unity of Edgewood, and I guess I'm a congregant at large. I kind of help out where needed. Today I'm the AV varmint. I get to scurry around and carry the mic. And
yeah, we'll drop the kinda. And we'll all assume a worship position.
No.
Yes, to our AV and technicians, and to all of you listening and watching, know that we in the Northwest region love you and bless you and are here to serve you also, whoever you are, wherever you are in this region or out, and that you're going to see, I think, a rising up out of this region today that's going to be broader than the boundaries of the Northwest region.
Where are the other people on the other side of the
We've got a Unity of Medford, somebody from there. Is it Brian? And who else is participating with us? Robert? Spokane was on earlier.
Then there were some unnamed people on.
Yes.
The North Bend.
I hope so.
The North Bend on the Oregon coast was supposed to be with us too. I don't know if they actually tried.
North Bend, yeah. So this is like you're groundbreaking in that way. I've always volunteered for it to be recorded, filmed, streamed, anything, and you're the first one that actually manifested that, actually brought together the resources and the technology, the wisdom, and the heart and the hands to do it. So thank you for being that. And this after today, and we've got a technician coming to our Great Lakes Unity Conference in October that's going to teach a workshop on how to do this so that we all step into a greater expansion of putting our message out via video and streaming. So we're moving, I believe. So thank you for coming back from lunch. That's a miracle. Another one. And anything you want to share about your table groups, from your discussions, anything you can take away. I'm better off today because what I heard was some new hope, a new faith, a new skill, a new technique, anything you want to share from your getting to sit with your table groups.